This is not the story of the One. The One encompasses too much, crushing everything and making it the same. No. This is the story of the many, who are blessed with difference and rich in strangeness. This is the story of a family.
I am NetMoverSitan. Welcome to the Eternal Cylinder. Seems serene and peaceful so far, doesn't it?
Once upon a time, in the age of the Eternal Cylinder, there lived a family of little creatures called the Trebaum. Trebaum are not the strongest, nor the fastest, and they do not have sharp teeth. They would make easy prey for the terrible force that came to their planet. But Trebaum are loyal and resourceful and very, very stubborn. It is with such a Trebaum that our story begins. One clever little creature born into a cruel world who would be instrumental in bringing prosperity to its kind. Run, something inside him said, run. The great crushing thing, the great cylinder, had stopped. Perhaps it was safe here for a little while. How quickly it learned to use its legs and its trunk. But these things were not so much learned as they were remembered. Perhaps the little Trebaum thought they were a gift from the strange voice it heard in its mind. That too was a kind of memory. Just when it was starting to get used to its legs, the food from the jumping creature gave it new ones. With the right substance as a catalyst, a Trebaum can transform and adapt to many challenges.
Upon newly hatching, the Trebaum seeks out sources of water, along with anything else that it might store within its body. Immediately, the curiosity gets the better of things, encountering other creatures. Finding out that the nearby insect life has healing abilities. And has found a species that is prey. And like before, eating some species causes mutations. In this case, the mutation is increased storage within its body. It might seem safe right now for the newly hatched Trebaum, but as it would later find out, there are some species that are best kept a distance from.
The Trebaum was drawn to a bright light, or perhaps to the creature next to it.
Ah. Oh, typical. Why am I working with this one? Oh yes. Do a double act with this one and...
Except for the grass growing on the old one's head, they were very much alike.
I can't even get a word in.
Surrounded by this light, the Trebaum knew things it had not known before. It knew the older Trebaum had carried this light for a long, long time. And it knew that now that responsibility had passed to the next generation. Yes, this young Trebaum had to carry the light to those great towers in the distance. It could have stayed here to learn many old things, but the cylinder would not allow it. Run, the inner voice said, run! The towers would not stop the cylinder unless they were activated.
Encountering danger in the form of an invasive element to the planet, the Trebaum rolls away from danger and heads to safety.
Quickly, the Trebaum had to step on the symbol or the cylinder would not be stopped.
I was just getting to that! Hopefully this will be edited out for the end product, so to speak.
The voice inside the Trebaum's memories assured it that while the tower stood, the Trebaum would be safe. The power of the eternal cylinder was contained for now. This relative tranquility gave the Trebaum a chance to think about its family. Trebaum are not meant to live alone, so where were the others?
Just getting to that.
It was hard for the Trebaum to know what to do or where to go. But the friendly voice suggested this was not the right way. To find your path, it said, you must follow the beam of light that emanates from the tip of the tower and stay away from the deep waters where the old things dwell.
Trebaum are social creatures. They will not last long alone. Neither for survival or their well-being.
Finding another Trebaum was a cause for joy, but this new friend was not well. Deep inside the memories it had inherited, the Trebaum found the answer. to recover. Its friend needed a very specific substance, which appeared as glittering clusters of crystal dust. This dust was not natural. Only a great Trebaum could create it. And so it was on the achievements of previous generations that the newborn Trebaum would have to rely. Luckily, it seemed a wise and powerful Trebaum had passed through here some time ago.
Concerned for another of its kind, the dust was sucked up by the Trebaum at a fountain, all to heal the ailing Trebaum before. Although they can get preoccupied by their surroundings. Perhaps to make sure that nothing is missed. Or perhaps they had the short attention span. Now that a newborn Trebaum has healed Nihil, it offers some food. Which was most appreciated. And so Nihil joins the newborn Trebaum in the journey for survival. Survival in a harsh world, even without the cylinder. While there are some creatures that are big enough to eat a Trebaum, they can't do that if they can't reach them. And there are some creatures that are perfectly content to ignore them, as long as the Trebaum does not get too close.
Our young friend had found an egg, a Trebaum egg, with one of his siblings inside. The egg had been abandoned, but it could still be made to hatch. All that was needed was a source of heat.
However, there's still the issue of how the Trebaum duo is to reach that egg. Perched so high above the water, that might as well be a mountain. As while the Trebaum can swim to an extent, they are unable to leap out of the water high enough to reach it. They would have to persist and roll, while avoiding other creatures that might be a threat. With persistence, Nihil was successful in retrieving the egg and brought it to a warm place to encourage hatching. A new Trebaum has hatched. Dementi followed the older Trebaum away from danger. And understanding that the new member of the family is hungry, Dementi is fed and receives the storage body mutation. The trio of Trebaum continue to explore the land that has so far been untouched by the sun. After a short distance, the Trebaum find signs of their kind, along with an unhatched egg. Dementi instinctively knows what to do. And after a short while, a new member of the family is hatched. Apatha joins them and proceeds to store whatever it deems useful. While other members of the family do what they see might be helpful. The quartet continues to forage around what used to be a place to live for their kind. A place that has long been abandoned. Another mutation has been found in the form of a new food. And this mutation appears to serve no useful function whatsoever. All it does is allow for making noise. However, the Trebaum wander too deep into a place that they are ill-equipped to be in. Biologically. They understood that if they stayed there for too long, they would freeze to death. So moved back to less frigid conditions. And continued exploring.
This door had been built for Trebaum. It gave them hope that in this large and dangerous world, some places had been made for them.
Right. I'm not sure what we're doing here. Are we doing a wildlife documentary? Let's just keep this going until we get out of here. I don't know anymore. Clearly the Trebaum are a sentient race that is facing an approaching disaster in the form of something giant that what is this? War of the Worlds only? Yes, that's a good analogy as any. Well, at least they won't die of thirst.
Somehow this ancient statue transferred knowledge to the Trebaum.
It's also good to know what's
It was as if a memory had been stored inside it, waiting for someone to absorb it.
Yes, we get what it does.
And as soon as this knowledge had entered their minds, the Trebaum realized that there was a great library of information hidden away in the web of their memories. But why was the knowledge of a specific ingredient placed here in this Trebaum made of stone?
Well, we're dealing with something so apocalyptic, they'd safeguard it, of course. Oh yes, a cuboid body. What advantage that would have? I honestly can't see anything beneficial from that. And it's hardly natural, is it? The cube's a bit too perfect, isn't it? Yes, the Trebaum are clearly more advanced than they appear. Well, they were in the past, but likely since the cylinder, not anymore. Oh, and look, they get bigger as they get older.
Inside the cave, the Trebaum found a living elder. It had been waiting in this chamber for a long time. The elder told them it was happy to see some friends before the cylinder came. It said, "You are young, so you never knew the time when our people could shapeshift at will. We Trebaum are inheritors of a vast tree of abilities passed on to all future Trebaum. But this power is being taken away. Beware the servants of the cylinder. They will seek to hurt you at every opportunity, and they have the power to rob you of your abilities. But if you persevere, one day you will find a way to protect yourselves from their evil light. Farewell, my brave friends. I fear I am too old and tired to join you. May you find a way to prosper in this time of struggles.
Tell you what, let's keep these parts where I don't have to maintain a facade out of the final product, okay?
It was not easy to leave the cave, but the elder had urged them to go forward. Suddenly they felt the weight of their many tasks, to find their Trebaum siblings, to restore the powers their people had lost, and it all seemed a little daunting. But even when they are afraid, Trebaum are stubborn.
Yes. Get the exposition quicker, okay? And what do we call this one? Oh, I don't know. I know. Let's call this one Depre. Yes, that should do nicely. And emerging from that cave, they encounter a flying predator. They knew not what it was capable of, but they knew enough to keep their distance. And not draw its attention. Deborah had the fortune of being in a large family, as they provided beneficial mutations, such as a trunk that can scare away those that are easily scared, and the storage one. As long as they stayed within the area around the tower, they would be safe. But they would need to move on in order to find more.
The cylinder resumed its destruction. Nothing could stop it forever. They needed to roll to safety, to find another tower to protect them quickly.
Can you let me work here? I'm doing the best I can with what I have. The cylinder would stop for nothing. The Trebaum were fearful of their own destruction. Thankfully, they knew that the towers would bring safety if they could reach it in time. the cylinder stops before them, and although terrified, they calm quickly once they find that they are safe.
The Trebaum were excited by this discovery. This new mutation would allow them to extract water from ingredients that were otherwise quite dry. But the voice cautioned them to be careful. More water was useful, but this process would not extract any nutrients. They would have to use it carefully and wisely.
Now that water will no longer be an issue for the Trebaum family group, they were able to devote their attention to other concerns.
The Trebaum found themselves almost as lost as they had been in the beginning. But the voice in their memories comforted them. It was only natural to be confused, it said. They had been born into a strange, broken world, cut off from the history of their ancestors. Everyone was a little lost these days. What mattered was to keep going, to keep looking for answers, to keep carrying the light they held within them, the light that stopped the cylinder.
They knew not what the green fog was, only that it was not going to be healthy. In fact, they knew that it would be outright evil. So they stayed far away from that. And they also sensed that they should stay within the area of the tower. And search its environments for anything as they could find useful. And now we have yet another sign of what is the remnants of Trebaum civilization. And a sign of, and something to mutate. And yes, they can tire out if forced to swim too much. Oh look, and it's more of this, and I'm not going to say it, even if this somehow makes it to the final cut, because we're trying to keep this family friendly, aren't we? Oh, and look, the Trebaum seem to be messing around here. Let's just wait for it to get on with this. Paid enough for this. Well, that's great. Now, this Trebaum has a specialization of being able to extract whatever that dust is. And now to and yes, I know. I don't know how they knew where each of them are, and to drop down there. I'll look that up and see what. Oh yes, of course. That's why. I'll cover that once they get out of that. Otherwise, they'll believe well, we don't know what we're talking about. Right. Now we just wait for the Trebaum to be done there. And once they're done, we can keep this moving forward. Upon finding some beneficial mutations in that cave, the Trebaum family continues to explore the area. They're able to stick together because of their pack mentality. They knew where each of than were at any given time, not wanting to be separated from each other.
In this strange, eerie temple, the Trebaum felt something stir in their memories. There was a great power in this place. Something from the days when even the elders were young. Perhaps it could help them.
No one lets me finish. Oh yes. Another unnatural mutation, considering that there's no beneficial purpose to having something intended to attract these flies. Well, not unless you need some food that actually heals. And it's clear that this is some form of test. As we have an artificial mutation that's intended to attract these, and they need to be attracted over here. I want to tell how advanced they were. Huh.
The Trebaum were disoriented for a moment. Something new had entered their memories and they needed to make sense of it. It seemed to be a map. And on this map, a location had been marked. If they understood correctly, there was some manner of serpent, a guardian, a greater being of some kind, somehow linked to a safe haven. Could they find refuge there? Their ancestors must have created this map for a reason.
Yes, perhaps they saw it coming. Whatever this is.
What manner of strange beast lurked behind the cylinder? The Trebaum were deeply unsettled by this new mystery. But though some part of them was curious, they were certain it would be best not to find out.
The Trebaum valued their own survival above their own curiosity. They knew that they could not stay there, so they left the safety of the tower and moved on to the next one. All while navigating the environment and away from the dangerous-looking fog.
As their fear faded, the Trebaum started feeling weak and tired. With all the excitement and adventure, they'd neglected their most basic needs. The sound of an empty stomach reminded them that survival requires more than escaping from danger. You also have to eat. Luckily, one of the many gifts of the Trebaum is the capacity to store food in their bodies. But they still need to digest it to gain the vital energy that gives them strength. And for such small creatures, they do require rather a lot of food. Fortunately, the savannah was rich in flora and fauna which would satisfy their little bellies without necessarily triggering a mutation.
Well, it's gotten off to a rolling start, hasn't it? Until next time. Hail the rabbit!